We will soon be celebrating Passover, and during the telling of the Passover story, very frequently we center the story around the core characters who are men, Moses and Pharaoh, and maybe Aaron. But on this Women's History Month, we can recall that there were actually also a lot of key female characters in the story of the Exodus. So much so that the rabbis actually say that without the merit of the righteous women in Egypt at that time, that the Israelites might not have been saved, that it was the merit of those women that caused God to come down and save the Israelites from slavery. So of course there are the women that are better known, perhaps most famous of which was Miriam, who saved her baby brother, watching him in the basket as he went down the Nile. Of course, Yocheved, Moses' mother, who placed her baby in the Nile River instead of drowning him, so therefore defying Pharaoh's decree. Later on, upon redemption, Miriam leads the women in dance after they cross the sea. You also have Bat Paro, Pharaoh's daughter, who pulled the little baby Israelite boy out of the river and adopted him, a boy that was not from her own people, but whom she saved. So we have those named women, as well as the characters of Shiphrah and Puah, who were the midwives to the Israelite women. And when Pharaoh decreed not only that Israelite baby boys be thrown in the Nile, but before that, that the midwives kill them upon birth, those midwives defied Pharaoh's decree and refused to kill the babies upon birth, making excuses and risking their lives. So we have those named women in the story of the Exodus, but the rabbis tell us that also it was the ordinary women of Israel, just the women of every day, even the non-named women who were not leaders, but who helped save the day. How did they do that? So during this time that Pharaoh decreed that all Israelite baby boys must be thrown into the Nile or killed upon birth, of course, there was terror among Israelite couples and they stopped trying to conceive. They didn't want to see their babies murdered, so they tried not to have them at all. And Pharaoh also decreed that the Israelite men had to work constantly in the fields and could not even go home to be with their families. And so what did the Israelite women do? Well, despite all this terror and this pessimism, they maintained hope, they maintained faith and optimism, and they devised a plot to conceive. So they fished out little fish as they drew water from the wells, and they cooked these fish and brought them to their husbands in the fields. And they gave them water and fish and anointed them and cleaned them so that they should feel refreshed and strong and healthy. And they lay with them right there in the fields. And so they conceived, and their babies were protected by God. And so it was this ability to maintain optimism, maintain faith and hope, and to notice the importance of Jewish continuity, of Israelite continuity, even in the face of death-defying terror, that made these Jewish women heroes in their own time. So this Passover and this Women's History Month of March, let us remember and celebrate not only the wonderful named heroines of our past, the women of great glory, but also the everyday unnamed heroines that each of us know in history and in our own time.